Hello and welcome back to the Car Talk podcast, a show where we talk about the latest car news and the latest transportational opinion. Today I am joined by Matty from Matty Cars. How are you doing today, Matty?
Good, thanks. Yeah, very good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm feeling very festive actually. All the Christmas lights are up.
Yes, this is our Christmas special.
It is, and in this Christmas special we are mainly focusing on Christmas and minis. And also joined today is Harry from the Grand Team, who does the camera work, the drone operating, producing, everything really. But Harry, would you like to introduce yourself by starting off with what you actually drive?
Yes, hello Bayley. It is a pleasure to be here, of course, as always with the Grand Team.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you. So I currently drive a Mini Cooper, a 2011 Mini Cooper. Brilliant little car, 120 brake, so 1.6 engine.
Nice.
Could not
and that's
ask
your
for
first
anything
car,
better.
isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, first
Good
car.
first car.
Yeah, really good. So straight away I was in love with that car.
You can see why we're doing a mini themed episode today.
Yes.
That's why we got someone who likes minis and owns a mini.
Yes, indeed.
Harry, would you like to sort of go into a bit more of your dream cars and what cars you want to own in the future? Because that's a big thing, and obviously everything's going electric. But what would you love to own?
Well, yeah, I mean, my dream for my next car would definitely be the Cooper S. I'm definitely hoping by summer of 2022 to be able to get a Cooper S, preferably probably around, it depends on the budget at the time, but hopefully a new-ish one.
Yeah.
And then basically just mod it to shit.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Turn it into a proper project car. Because that is currently my dream car, to be honest. Just a heavily modified Mini.
It's definitely a good choice though, mate, because it's affordable and also it's a very quick car.
Yeah, I mean, they're really nippy, brilliant little cars, little race cars, really. The Cooper S, I think it's 180 brake.
Yeah, turbo.
Like 179. Yeah, 1.6 turbo. The newer ones are definitely a lot faster. They have a 2-litre in them, so they're definitely quite fast.
Yeah. They get to about 200 brake, don't they? But they're all about 40 grand.
Yeah, you'll be setting yourself back a few quid.
They're quite cult cars, aren't they, Minis? They've got quite a big following. What drew you to them as opposed to buying a Mini rather than, I don't know, Golf GTI or something like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that kind of drew me towards those cars was it was a few things, but definitely for a first car you want something which is obviously, when it comes to insurance, reasonably cheap. And Minis are actually really good on insurance. You can get really cheap insurance in them. Mine is currently like 700, and I'm only on my second year insurance. Is it third?
It must be the third because I'm on third now.
I haven't renewed my third year yet because I'm later than you. I passed a lot later.
Well, that just shows that if you want to buy a Mini, it's a good insurance car because I'm paying 1.1 for a 1.2, and I don't know how that works out, but I am.
And yours is a 1.6 and your insurance is all right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, it's one of the cheapest insurance out of most of our mates, as well as definitely one of the fastest cars as well, which is absolutely brilliant, of course, for me anyway.
Right, so the big part of the podcast is obviously talking about the latest car news and what new cars are being announced. So we've got a few new today. We'll just briefly touch on them. Matty, would you like to start on the car that you've seen that you like?
I went on the internet and I found this. It's Bentley's first EV.
Ooh.
It's not out yet, actually. So we're a little bit early with this one. It's not out until 2025.
Wow. So we got a bit of while to wait then.
A little while to wait, and to be honest with you, it doesn't look like it's going to be much of a looker either. As we know with Bentleys, the design is more of an evolution than a revolution. nine times out of 10. This is certainly a revolution. I mean, these pictures are only concept pictures, but it's going to be nothing like any Bentley you've seen before. Quite sort of creased styling. It's going to be quite a low down sort of squat, sporty looking car, but with all the signature Bentley features. But it's sort of going down because it's electric. It's sort of, I think they've sort of gone with the whole Tesla Model 3 look and shape of the car. So sort of like it almost looks like a family car, to be honest. It
does, a very sporty family car. I mean, I'm seeing from the pictures now, it's very low down. It's got a huge grille, and it's got a huge pair of lights.
Huge pair of lights. But one interesting thing, actually, I mean, I can't find the exact quote here, but I did read something along the lines of that in the next 5 years, Bentley doesn't expect the technology with electric cars and retaining the battery charge to be much further on than it is now. So they're basically saying don't expect it to be, the next great electric car that's going to have amazing range and things like that. But
that is quite interesting that they said that, actually, because I mean, we spoke about electric cars last week or last month even, and you said that electric isn't the future, and you think it's more hydrogen and other things like that. But I think that's quite a bold statement for Bentley there.
And another interesting thing, if you want to bring it back to Mini for a minute, the Mini Electric, so the hatchback but the electric version, it was 10 years in development apparently.
Wow.
Jesus.
It's a claimed range of 145 miles, but you only get around 80 to 100 miles.
That's poor.
Before it runs out.
That's terrible. And
that's awful.
Here's the cherry on top, boys. That is with nothing. So no, if you don't turn the fan on and things like that, so it's a hot day or a cold day.
Come on, that's stupid, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't think we're as far ahead with electric cars as we may think, and we've only got 10 years left.
I mean, the thing with electric cars as well, something that I'm kind of what I worry about, obviously nowadays, with your phones, for example, you know how you'll have a phone for a year, maybe 2 years if you're lucky, and then the battery goes, it just goes downhill. It becomes rubbish. Your battery will only last half an hour. And I'm thinking, do you think that'll happen with electric cars? Does that mean we'll have to buy a car or a new battery every few years? Because that would get quite expensive.
That's a good question, Harry, because, I mean, they use the same sort of process in making them. I think they are lithium ion, and the ones in iPhones are lithium ion.
Exactly.
But, I mean, if you think about the size difference, I think they said you might have to replace it every sort of 5 years. I don't know if I might be corrected, but
I think the average lifespan of an electric car before things kind of start going really wrong, so scrap it wrong, is about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah,
which is a lot for, say, if you were owning the car, you've got it for 10 years, but the actual
it's not a very long time,
lifespan of the car. I mean, my car's 20 years old and it's still going. So
exactly, yeah. That's why old cars are better. We've established.
We have.
And I love how you brought up the electric Mini, Matty. There's a rival that has just been announced, the brand new Fiat 500 2021, all electric. It's got a DC rapid charging system, which takes as little as 35 minutes. But then if you do use the 11 kilowatt AC Type 2 charger, whatever that means, it takes 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is just nonsense. Now, of course, like I said, it's obviously rivaling the new Mini Electric and the Honda E, but it actually starts at only £21,000, which is a lot lower than the other two. Has 117 brake horsepower, a range of only 200 miles. I mean, what I might do, Matty, is buy a petrol-powered car, put some petrol in it, and then I'll be home much faster.
That's a brilliant idea, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
You are a genius.
Exactly.
Someone should do that.
They
You could have it like in these little things, and you know, if you want a Mars bar, you go into the shop and you buy it while you're paying for the juice that you've put in your car.
That's a brilliant idea. Imagine if you could like just fill it with a liquid within a matter of seconds and then just go about your day.
See, that is the future, and it's called petrol. Anyway, moving on to another electric car, which I dislike as well. The new Volkswagen Id3. Now, I have seen this on the road quite a lot. Starts at around £32,000 for the standard Life Pro, whatever that is, and 40k for the Tour Pro S. Only does 99 miles an hour, and that's for all the specs, which is a bit stupid. All electric. Has a 201 brake horsepower, which is not too bad actually, but it does weigh almost 2 tons, and that's only because of the battery.
2 tons. Jesus.
Surely we're going backwards if it weighs 2 tons.
Sounds like it.
But do you want to know something interesting about Volkswagen of late? So this ID3 that they've developed, so they've basically got at the moment a platform for petrol and diesel cars and a platform for electric cars.
Yeah.
And obviously that's very expensive. Plus, they did recently pay the fine for the emissions scandal a few years back.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So what's been happening is the interior quality that you'd normally get in a Volkswagen has dropped quite significantly on all their like newish models.
Really?
So like the plastics have gone really like to a lower standard than what you'd have got a few years ago or even last year. So if you've got a Volkswagen and you've bought it new and it's got a rubbish interior, you can either blame it on the emissions scandal or you can blame it on the new Volkswagen ID3.
Yeah.
So I blame it on that.
So anyone that owns an ID3, go and shame them by either vandalising their car or just not driving them.
I will admit, though, the interior does look really nice. It is a very modern interior.
Do you think so?
I do quite like it. It's definitely a commuter
It's very
car.
simplistic. It's very white. The one I'm looking at is very white. It's got lots of LCD screens, which, like
true.
I've mentioned before, it can be a problem if you're looking at that and then you realise that you're actually playing a game instead of driving.
Playing Mario Kart.
Now, I'd like to move on to the brand new Alfa Romeo Tonail. I don't know how you say it, but it's spelled Tonale. And it's meant to be released next spring. Looks very similar to the Stelvio. Information on this car is yet to be revealed, but yeah, it's like I said, it's meant to be released in spring next year.
Well, Josh would love this.
He would. We need to get Josh on for an Alpha episode, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. But what do you think? I don't like it, to be fair. I think Alpha need to make like and they've got a saloon, haven't they? But like something like an estate or a Spider or something. Like we've already got an SUV.
They have made I know what you mean. You've got an SUV already, but they have for this particular one, they've got a Quadrifoglio F1 edition, which is more of aggressive looking thing, which I really like the look of. I think it looks fantastic. But the Stan one, I mean, it is a concept at the moment. They might change it, which is quite likely, but I think it looks quite good.
I don't think it looks too bad, to be fair. It looks like quite a sporty SUV. But again, I'm not sure what it is about all these electric cars, but the grille's just not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't like SUVs anyway, really. But when it comes to something like Alfa Romeo, I think they just need to go back to their roots, because I think they've dropped the Giulietta. I think they've definitely dropped the Mito. I think they've got like 2 or 3 cars in their model range at the moment. Like,
not very many, are there?
They need to start sort of making a more variety of cars and go back to like the early noughties when they had like sort of a car for every man sort of thing, but still be a niche kind of manufacturer. They're just because I think like they'd be like dead in the water by now, because unless they weren't being carried by Fiat, because that's how they're surviving, because of the Fiat sales.
Yeah, of course, because they own them, don't they?
Yeah, FCA, yeah.
So, Matty, you know how on the last podcast I mentioned the BMW iX, and we talked briefly about that, how it looks stupid. Well, they've made a new one, a new version, or a smaller version, and it's called the BMW i Next. I don't know if they're taking the piss with that name, or if it's genuine. I think it is genuine, but it's basically a slightly smaller version of the BMW iX. It does look terrible, as the other one did as well, but I can't wait to see all of those in Waitrose next summer.
Oh, God.
Do you think they're going to put the X range out of fashion, these new electric SUVs?
I hope not, because, I mean, they are making an iX3, which is an X3 electric version, which is also coming out next year. And that looks a bit more like the modern time car now, if you have a look at it. The BMW iX3. It does
Why
look
don't
decent.
they just call it the X3E or the X3 electric?
I don't know, really, but I guess... I mean, the iX3 does kind of flow, I guess, but, I mean, it's not really hinting that it's electric, is it, really?
Yeah, that's nice. That's quite subtle. That's all right, you know. Just looks like an X3 to me, to be fair.
It does, yeah, pretty much.
Sticking with the Mini theme, I've got the new Mini Countryman Boardwalk edition.
Let's have a look at this.
It's here. We didn't ask for it, but it's arrived. But there's only going to be 325 of these available. It gets a unique paint finish, new wheels. Is priced from... Oh, it gets a roof rack as well, and it's priced from £31,000, and I'm not interested.
I'm not interested either.
Sorry, Harry. Sorry, Mini fans.
No,
What do you think of this, Harry? Do you like it?
I'm kind of with you. I've never been a huge fan of the Countryman.
I think it's
I've always
defeating the object of Mini.
Exactly. I quite like the fact that Mini obviously came from this tiny little car, but from back in the day before they're bought by BMW. They're quite, they're a classic car. They're brilliant little things. And when obviously BMW bought them, they made them a lot bigger, a bit faster, of course, which is always appreciated. Yeah. But when they bring in the Countryman, they're just kind of almost taking away everything that Mini stood for, and everything that they kind of originated from, because they're huge.
This is what I wanted to sort of like expand on later on in the podcast. Obviously, we brought it up now, and that's fine, because I was going to say, like, older Minis, are true to themselves, and the fact that they are actually Mini, and they are, smaller, compact. And when you think of a Mini, I think of the old 60s one, the first one they made, the Austin. I think that's a brilliant little car.
I think, to be fair, I think like the likes of the Countryman and the 5-door Mini of the hatchback, I think they're all sort of mass marketing things to appeal to a wider audience. But at the same time, I think BMW have done quite a good job, really, of trying to maintain the old Mini style and cues. I agree. And things like that. But yeah, I mean, the Countryman too big, but I know why they've done it. Plus, like, even the hatchback is too big for someone like me who likes like really small cars. But at the same time, they've probably had to been forced to grow it in size because of safety regulations, and it'd probably get a bad rating on Auto Trader if it was really cramped as like the first 60s Mini.
That, but also, I mean, all the Ascot mums going to Waitrose, as Bayley, I'm sure, is very familiar with. They love these kind of cars. I mean, Minis, just like the normal hatchbacks, are a bit small, but they're great for hairdressers and middle-aged women.
Yeah, like I said in one of my reviews, I even said they go to Decathlon and they get their hair done in Tony and Guy.
So now they've made them bigger so that they can fit the kids in the back as well and all their shopping. And so it's perfect for them.
And this is a section we are calling Marmite Minis, ladies and gentlemen, rightly pointed out by Matty from Matty Cars. Do go check him out.
Are we coming back to Marmite Minis? Because there's a couple, isn't there? There's a few Marmite Minis. Is that something we're going to come back to later, or are we doing it now?
Let's get straight into it now, I reckon.
Cool.
So the first thing I want to talk about in Minis, obviously, Harry, you own a Mini.
Yes.
What I want to know is, what's it like owning a Mini? Now, people do dislike Minis. They think they're very girly, or they think they're, stupid. I think they're quite cool.
I do.
The only thing I don't like is the convertible, but we'll just move on from that. But Harry, would you tell us what owning a Mini's like?
Honestly, they're absolutely brilliant cars. I mean, I never thought too highly of them before I got one. It was the traction, obviously, like I mentioned before, was definitely insurance and the extra horsepower, which is quite nice. Yeah. And it just seemed perfect at the time. But as I started to drive it, I definitely fell in love with it. They have a lot of character to them. It's the way they drive, the way you feel the car on the road. They're quite low down, and they have a lot of character in them. They have that kind of almost a track car feel to them.
I mean, I've driven your car, Harry. I can say that.
Yes,
I agree with you. But you paid what, 6K for it?
6.7.
6.7, nice.
Yeah, and that was for but that was quite a low mileage as well. It's 2011, 25,000 miles on it. And that was 6.7 from a BMW dealership as well. But you could definitely find some really low mileage Mini Coopers on Auto Trader for easily within the 4 to 5 grand range, which are still relatively low mileage and relatively new as well.
Yeah.
I've never had any major issues.
I've driven the Mark II Cooper for work. We had one of those. I think it's a really good car. I think it's got I'm going to be cliche here and say the go-kart feel.
No, I definitely agree.
I mean, they've done a good job because, like we've mentioned, they've had to make it bigger and heavier for safety and things like that. But it still sort of maintains that, you can really just chuck it into a corner. And I don't know about your Mini, Harry, but in this Mark II one, it's like being in the old one. You sat right at the front, like you're driving just right against the windscreen, like an old person with their nose on the steering wheel. And I thought it was great. And to be honest with you, I don't understand the argument about Minis being girls' cars. Girls do drive them, but they must be cool girls, because the Mini is I just think the Mini is streets ahead in terms of masculinity.
I mean, they're brilliant.
Than a 500 or even an Audi A1.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely see something like an Audi A1 as definitely a girlier car than a Mini.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Yeah.
I think it's very much a stereotype thing, just from what a lot of people see, because obviously girls do like that kind of car. They are brilliant little cars, but there is so much potential with them in terms of modification as well, because obviously a stock Cooper S will come with a 1.6 turbocharged engine, which is, a pretty good start if you want to mod your car and squeeze a lot of horsepower out of it as well, because you can do things like remaps and all that stuff. It's definitely really bring out a lot in the 1.6 engine. You probably get up to, I think I've seen ones with 400 horsepower and more, in fact, which is absolutely brilliant from such a tiny car.
Harry, that actually leads me on to the next question for you. What mods would you add to your car if you got the Cooper S, for example?
Where do I start?
Many mods.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be completely changed. From an aesthetic point of view, I'm not sure what I want to do with the paint. Depends what I get it in. I quite like...
What colour is your Mini?
My current one is red with white race stripes down it.
Cool.
And the white roof.
And that makes it go.
mirrors.
That makes it goes faster, doesn't it?
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, it adds an extra 100 horsepower. I reckon.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah. But no, like, yeah. I mean, paint job would definitely probably be the first. One of the first things that I'd definitely look into. And then I love the kind of fog lights on the grille. The rally spec lights.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I'm
brilliant.
with you
I
there,
love
to be
those.
fair, yeah.
But then I'd also probably want to get the... completely forgot the name of it now. Let me put in the spotlight. We adjust the angle of the wheels.
Oh, the camber.
That's it, camber.
Going very JDM there.
Yes, yeah. I definitely adjust the camber. Not too much, but definitely enough so that my parents are disappointed in me. And yeah, I'd obviously go for like the full remap, exhaust.
What colour would you wrap it though? Because you mentioned you wanted to wrap it, but I mean,
Yes.
there's obviously lots of options for minis. You got aqua blue, which is a very girl colour. You've got the red chili. None of those.
I mean, mine is red chili right now. That is the current paint on my current Mini.
Is it?
Yeah, it's red chili.
Because the red chili's almost got a bit of an orange in it. I mean, we're going very arty here. We're not going into cars, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is the color of it. But I'd probably go for... I'd love like a matte grey, but with red detailing.
that would be cool, actually. Yeah,
think that'd
I
look
can
quite
see
cool.
that quite working quite well, actually.
Mm.
Now, question for both of you: what are your favourite minis, and what minis do you dislike? Obviously, we touched upon this, like, a couple of minutes ago. What sort of minis have a big place in your heart, and what other minis do you absolutely despise?
I'll go first then.
Go for it.
The Mini JCW, especially the newer ones, the John Cooper works. Absolutely love them. If I had the budget, I'd get one instead of a Cooper S, of course.
I agree. They are wicked cars, and the only problem I have with them is the price.
Yes, definitely.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous price, but
You're looking at
beautiful.
like £40,000. I mean, there you could get an M2 at that point.
Yeah, I'd rather get an M2 at that point for that kind of money.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
The proper performance cars, but there's when you get to that price point, you've got a lot more options, haven't you?
Yeah, you've definitely got to love Minis a lot to spend £42,000 on one.
Definitely, yeah.
If you have that kind of money. The JCWs, though, absolutely beautiful little cars. They look mean. They look really mean. And I love just the way they're done, like regarding paint jobs, detailing, interior, even like to the exhaust. They have the valve and the exhaust,
Yeah.
which is just brilliant because, if you're sneaking home back at night, obviously you can turn the exhaust down. But of course,
That's what I like about minis. They think of every detail, don't they?
yeah,
I think the whole board is just a load of 17 to 25-year-olds who just you just relate to all our problems and iron them all out for
apart from
every new
pricing,
car
of
that's
course.
made. Yeah, apart from that, yeah.
But definitely in a few years, I mean, you'll probably find a few on Auto Trader. I'm not sure. Minis usually keep their value quite well, unfortunately, so that could be an issue. But yeah, regarding worst Mini though, I'd probably go for a Mini 1.
It's very standard, isn't it?
Very, yeah. It's quite boring of the Minis that you can get, of course. It comes with either a 1.2 or 1.4 engine. You can get a 1.6 as well, but usually...
At that point, you might as well just get a Cooper.
Exactly, yeah. So...
Pretty mean with the equipment as well, aren't they? There's just... It's like you get all the style but no substance with
Yes.
the base level minis. But yeah.
So, regarding my worst and best minis, I think that my worst one is either the convertible, the older sort of like I don't know if it was. I think it's 2011, around your time, Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The convertible one where it had the soft top goes round the back of the car.
Yeah.
I dislike that very much.
I think they look a little bit sort of bloated, them. You know what I mean?
They do.
Completely
don't they?
agree. Completely agree.
Or that, or the mini Paceman, which Matty, I'm sure you'll agree on with me there.
Yeah, what is that car, honestly? I think that was another sort of mass marketing thing. You know, the compact crossover had just come out. I think the Nissan Duke had just come out, and Mini went, right, we'll get on that, and just... it looks horrible, doesn't it? You know, I think...
It's worse than the Countryman. I'd rather have a Countryman over that.
Yeah.
I am going to have to say, I will change my opinion on my worst Mini. This is definitely
It's that.
probably... Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at a picture now, and...
I mean,
it's
what is the
disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like a Mini from the back.
If you type in on the internet, guys, 2014 Mini Paceman Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That is...
Is that real?
There's no way.
I've just seen that on the other page. I thought someone had made that.
It's
like
real.
a farmer or something.
But it's generally real. It's basically a pickup version with like rally lights on the top, which the front of it is quite nice. But the second part, what they've done is like they've done a nice front, but they haven't really completed the back.
It looks like something you'd see on Top Gear. You know when they like cut half the car off and would make like a truck and go through a desert or something?
Yeah.
It looks like something from an old Top Gear episode. It looks like something Hammond would make.
Yeah, it looks bodged. doesn't it?
Yeah. It looks like they just didn't finish it.
It looks like a work experience at the Mini projects.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely a good reason why we don't see any of them on the roads.
Yeah, you don't see them, do you? I mean, they were
Never
around for
seen
like
one.
a few years, but I don't think many people bought them.
No, I don't. I hardly see them on the road. Like you hardly see any of them.
Never seen one.
But regarding my favourite Mini, and I've obviously mentioned this already, which is the old Austin Mini. Of course, that won a lot of the World Championships rally, and it's got that really classic Mini look. It's obviously got features like wide bodies, which is where you can go a bit mental with it.
Oh,
but
I'd definitely get a fat body kit on the Cooper S.
and of course
Yeah.
they are very iconic from the Italian job, with the obviously the rally lights at the front as well on that, like you mentioned. But that's got to be my favourite Minis and my worst Minis. Matty, would you like to go ahead and talk about your worst and best?
This is a hard one for me because on the one hand I've got, like you said, the original Mini, so I think that car's timeless, to be honest. I mean, it looks dated now, but there's a reason why that car lasted for like 40, 50 years.
You still see them now, to be fair.
You do, and you know, I reviewed like a Metro on my channel the other week, and the first Metro, the Austin Metro, was supposed to replace the Mini, but here we are. All of those cars have rusted away, and the Mini
lives on.
The Mini lives on. So I'm torn between that. I mean, there's you'd never end with the research for that. There's so many specs and variations and engines and stuff, but I probably have one with the K series engine, which is a great engine. And then on the other hand, I am also very much have taken a liking to the... Do you remember? Does anyone remember the Mini Coupe? That was also quite a niche car, 2011 to 2015. I know nothing about it, but it looks cool to me. What do you think?
I've never been a huge fan, to be honest. When I see them about, I always go, "You've made the wrong decision."
I don't know. I think it's unforgivable that Mini made like the Countryman, but I think them making a coupe, like, that's quite, you know, I can forgive them for that. It makes sense, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It might be shit, to be honest. I know nothing about it. But is that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. I even like the Clubman, to be honest with you. So, you know, you shouldn't.
Clubman's another
me.
one I like as well, to be fair.
Do you like the Clubman?
I do like the Clubman. Rob from the Grand Teens had one for about a week, and well, because his car got hit into.
His as well.
Yeah, this is back when we filmed the first season. It was after we shot that day, and his car literally got hit into after all the challenges on part 5.
To the editing suite.
Yes,
sorry.
the very good editing studio, I might add. And he had the Clubman for about a week, and he loved it. It was a 1.5 turbo, twin air turbo, and it was really rapid. It was really smooth. Had the dual clutch gearbox.
Cool.
It was excellent, and he loved it. He's wanting to get one actually.
Is this the modern one? Yeah, with the van doors at the back and everything.
It was I think a 19 plate at the time, because it was a couple of years ago now, but it was brand new at the time, and 19 plate.
Might have to come to Ascot just for the day. Hopefully get hit into by an Ascot mum, so I can have a mini Clubman courtesy car.
That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. Actually, he got it by mistake. They weren't meant to give it to him instead, and then they took it back after a week, and then gave him a Skoda Fabia instead.
Yeah, because they're supposed to give you. They're supposed to give you the value of your car, aren't they? Like roughly the value of your car.
Similar engine size and similar sort of like design.
Yeah,
that's why I got the Corsa, because obviously it was 1.2. It was a hatchback. So I guess, guys, we've come to the conclusion that despite newer Minis being very good in terms of, you know, their reliability and their design and their, you know, power and engine and stuff, they are too expensive. And older Minis have that classic Mini, you know, look to them, and, you know, the feel of, I'm guessing the feel of driving them as well brings you back to the 60s.
Definitely.
But I think as well, actually, people are starting to sort of notice the way Minis are going. So they're getting bigger, they're getting heavier and all that sort of thing. And we've got an electric one on the way, or it's here. So the very first sort of like the new Mini from like 2000, they are really skyrocketing in value now, because people just want to get their hands on them, because they're sort of... I don't know, I don't think they're losing their identity, Mini, like, far from it, but they're sort of getting a little bit less sort of...
They're more BMW now, and that's obviously where it comes into play. You know, BMW own Mini, and they're sort of, you know, kind of taking over that originality, what the Mini was.
Well, at the end of the day, it's a money game, isn't it? You know, they're there to make money, and they're going to strip away... the things that we love about them, because they're trying to suit, you know, the bigger market of Ascot mums driving the kids around with a glass of wine and on their way to yoga class.
That's it. They've established themselves now as what they are, so they can basically just do whatever they want now.
And I don't see a problem with that, to be honest with you. You know what, they do what they want, and their cars are pretty good.
I agree. They definitely had their a good few years with their, obviously, like the rally cars, and all the older ones, even up until like the Cooper S, JCW, I'd say. Still absolutely brilliant cars, love them. But yeah, going into the SUV market is just not a huge fan.
No.
But anyway, moving from Marmite Minis, we now move on to obviously the festive part, and of course this is Christmas, well, in a few days. I mean, we're recording this on the 9th of December, so it's a bit behind, but this will be released sort of, you know, a few days before Christmas. And of course we want to talk something about Christmas to do with cars. Now, I've got one thing I'd like to say very quickly, actually, and there's a guy who runs a YouTube channel called Cheeky and Cultured. He lives in Reading, and his name is YC. And he's basically doing a very nice thing, actually. It's for charity, for an autism charity, I believe. And he's basically going to be driving around Reading with Christmas lights on his car, sort of, you know, make aware of that. And he's basically raising money, so to walk the... I'm not sure exactly, but go and check his channel out. And it's to walk one of the peaks of Mount Everest, I believe, next year.
Oh.
Which I think is very good. I love that.
Brilliant.
We're all about helping people in this world.
Very good course.
And that's
good
definitely
cause.
a good way of doing it. Very creative. I
Yeah.
believe Car Throttle did something similar, so we're not copying them whatsoever.
We're definitely not.
No.
But yeah, shout out to him. So go follow him on his YouTube channel, Cheeky and Cultured, and his Instagram as well.
Awesome.
Now, Matty, you have various stupid gifts to give
Yes.
people on Christmas Day, the car-related things.
Definitely. I've got a selection of gifts here. So if you are currently stuck for a Christmas gift, I mean, you're leaving it a bit late, but don't worry. I'm here to the rescue. For the Vauxhall lover in your life, you can get a red Vauxhall Tie, striped tie, so red background and black and blue and white stripes with the Vauxhall logo on it. So say if your chavvy son with the Corsa has been invited to your sister's wedding and you want him to look smart, but you also want to make him feel included, then he can wear that with his tuxedo and rev up to the wedding on the day in his Corsa limited edition.
You know what else? Though?
£15.95.
He could
yeah, go
also,
ahead.
you know, what? He could also wear that tie though. What's brilliant about it? He could wear it on date night to Mackey's with his year 9 girlfriend.
Yeah.
He could dressing nicely. You know, she's
going to go back to her friends and go, oh my God, my boyfriend is so well dressed.
He's such a classy man. He turns up in his Vauxhall tie. Buys her a Happy Meal and on their way.
I mean, this tie looks as appealing as the Corsa.
Honestly, it's awful. It's awful. It's.
The thing is, I have a problem with it. I mean, it's kind of for everything, not just car related, but things like that where you put, a car logo or some sort of main logo brand on a piece of clothing, or like a teddy bear, for example.
Yeah.
You could go and buy a standard teddy bear for £4 at Argos. As soon as you put a Ferrari badge on it, it's £25, and that's where they make their money. Of course, Ferrari doesn't even make that many cars, so they have to do that. But for example, that tie is £15. I mean, you pay that for a bloody Corsa anyway. So why don't you just buy the Corsa instead as a present?
So the next gift is a very practical gift for impractical situations. This is available on eBay, and there's a very flattering image of a woman with her legs open using the product. And it is, in fact, a male and female emergency urinal, go out, travel, camping, car, toilet, pee bottle.
That's a bit of a mouthful there, but I mean, yeah.
Wow.
I don't really have any words for that. That's very. I don't think I'd ever use that,
It's only
or
£7.
even give anyone that. I mean, that's the good part.
And it expands from 18 centimetres to 34 centimetres.
Wow.
Am I selling this to you here?
Yeah, you are, Matty. I might have to get one.
To be honest, if you didn't mention that it was for pissing in, I had a very different image in my head. For
Yeah, I mean, you can
something-
still use it for that, technically, if it extends.
Yeah, well, moving on.
Moving on swiftly. I would like to talk about a bit more classy items that you might want to get for, I don't know, a husband if he, say, I don't know, likes Mercedes or, I don't know, any type of car brand. And that is, you can get key rings for anything to do with cars, such as, a picture of a car, an actual logo. For example, in Mercedes-Benz world, they do little key rings, that you can get actual like keys, even if you don't own a Mercedes, that have like CLA on it or C-Class. And I think they're quite cool, like to have as just pretending you have a Mercedes, because some people can't afford them, and that is a good item to get someone.
I have actually got I've got a Mercedes key ring that I nicked from a bunch of keys in work, so I'm with you there.
Nice.
And the same goes for like, even Ferrari aftershave, Lamborghini toasters. I mean, these are all very expensive items if you want to go that sort of route. I mean, Harry, didn't your stepdad have like a Bugatti toaster or something.
My dad, he moved into a new house beginning of this year, I think it was, or end of last year. Yeah, end of last year. It came with a Bugatti toaster and a Bugatti kettle, both of which costs about £400 each, I believe, which was the most pointless thing I'd ever seen, because it was literally just a regular.
Does it not make it any quicker, like the actual toasting of it?
I didn't try it, to be honest, but I have a feeling it doesn't.
If I'm paying that much money, I want when the toaster's done, or when the toast is done, I want to hear like a turbo sound, or like when the kettle goes off, I want to hear the revving of the Bugatti to make you
turn
feel
the
good.
dial up to 11 on how hot you want your toast to be.
If I'm paying £400 for a kettle and a toaster, I want a fucking refund. I'm not paying that much.
There's no way I'm paying that much, no.
But
have you still got them? Has he still got them?
I believe so, yes.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Might be worth a bit of money then, actually. Does he use them every day, or?
I have no idea. I would assume they probably use them regularly, yeah.
Yeah.
But absolute waste of money. But it came with a house, so he didn't buy it. It's just, for some reason...
But that's a bonus then, isn't it?
Yeah, when they built the house, they just... Yeah. Because it's a brand new house, so they furnished it and everything.
Mm. Well, that's perfect then. You don't have to buy it, and you get a free Bugatti toaster.
Yeah. I wish it came with an actual Bugatti, but,
Yeah.
You win
Things
some,
you
you
don't
lose
get in
some.
life. But Matty, have you got anything else gift-wise?
Yeah, well, I've got one more gift here. Again, practical gift, appropriate for the times that we're living in. I'm sure other manufacturers are available, but you can get a Kia imprinted face covering. So face covering with the Kia logo on.
Yep.
And I must...
Do you think that's a bit of promotion there to get them to buy more Kias?
Well...
Or is it just, coincidence?
Apparently this face covering comes with a 7-year warranty or a 100,000 wash guarantee.
Wow.
So, there you go. That was the gifts.
It's so you can look like the front of a Kia.
Yeah.
Yeah, genius. Because everyone wants to look like the front of a Kia.
So that wraps up this Christmassy mini-themed podcast for you guys. I hope you did enjoy listening to us ramble on about various minis and useless Christmas items. And we do wish you a merry, very, very, very merry, very, very Christmas.
Very merry,
and we
very,
do
very,
hope...
very.
We do hope that 2020 is over soon and we can actually go on to 2021 with more cars that aren't electric, hopefully, and just, road trips and stuff. Have you guys got anything to say? Yes.
My last thing to say, actually, would be to the audience to make sure that you are tuning in next year, because we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up in a new season. Obviously, it'll be more based around specials, as our car reviews are going to be releasing throughout the year instead of one season. But yeah, definitely tune in for that. It'll be good fun, really good fun.
If we're doing channel promotions, also subscribe to my channel, Matty's Cars. I'm actually quite confident to say that there are going to be some cool things happening next year. Opportunity and after opportunity for cars to review and things sort of keep coming my way. So we've got a nice sort of backlog of weird and wonderful cars to review, with the added bonus of my comedy value. So that will be coming up next year.
Very looking forward to that.
Also, if anyone's interested, there's up to 13% off the male and female car toilet if you do a multi-buy. I've just popped up on eBay now, so other than that...
Brilliant.
Do go subscribe to us, the Grand Teen. We do, like Harry said a minute ago, we do lots of car reviews, and we got some brilliant stuff coming out next year. And if you are interested in music, do go subscribe to Harry. Has various channels. I don't know which one you use, Harry, but
I'm on all streaming services. It's just Elsham.
Spotify.
ELSHAM.
Yeah, search for Elsham on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, any of those, and do listen to his music. It's very good, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much for listening. Goodbye.